Is it already that time of day again? Boy, that time flies when you're having fun. Welcome back, guys and gals. Joseph James here once again, schooloftrade.com, sidewaysmarkets.com. Got another psychology video for you guys and gals. We just keep coming at you here this week on this YouTube channel. Got a great video in store for you guys here this afternoon. Today I want to share with you a kind of an interesting trading psychology strategy that I think is going to undoubtedly help you earn more profits using a term that I call a flexible psychology, or psychological flexibility, right? Some big words there. But before I go into today's lesson, you know how we always remind you guys, this psychology video is the most recent in a series of videos that I publish every week on this YouTube channel. And these videos build on the topics we've already discussed. So this is the first time you're watching. If you're here for the first time today, you might want to go back to the beginning of this video series and start from the beginning. I'll drop you a link in the description of that YouTube video so you can go back all the way to the first video and watch this series all the way through. I also want to remind you, if you're on our YouTube channel right now, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you click that little bell icon to make sure you always get notified every time I post something new. And if you really want to stay in tune with what's going on here at School of Trade, head over to the website, schooloftrade.com, sidewaysmarkets.com, and make sure you join our mailing list. I'll put the links below the video today on our YouTube channel. Now that we got the housekeeping issues out of the way, let's get into today's session. Today I'm going to talk about a strategy that's helped me, it helps my clients every day in the trade room, helps us grow our accounts so we can earn more profit each day by using a simple term called flexible psychology. But first, let's start with an analogy. Let's start with an example. Let's talk about three different traders. They take the same trade and each trade results in a loss. So let's start with this first example. Three traders, same trade. Same scenario, they all take the same trade, and that same trade, all of them results in a losing trade, in a loss to their account. Now the first trader loses money, takes the loss, loses money, curses at his monitor, throws his mouse across the room, says the markets are out to get me, and says heck with it and quits trading for the day. The second trader gets angry at the loss, decides the market was the one that was wrong. So what does he do? He doubles down on his next trade, and what happens? He loses even more money, which ultimately erases all of his gains from the entire week of trading before. The third trader, hopefully things get better, right? The third trader takes the loss, writes in his or her journal, takes a step back to rethink his analysis, and patiently waits for the next trade setup, which comes about 20 minutes later. It's a winner and puts him back in the green for the day. Good job. Now, what's the difference between these three different types of traders? It's a term that I call psychological flexibility, or the ability to hold a positive and focused mindset when we're placed under stress, right, or under distress. Now, just like someone who loses their job, right? They regroup, they find a new job, usually a better job, and upward and onward they go. The opposite would be the person who loses their job, blames it on their boss, starts self-medicating, falls into depression, loses everything, and never recovers, right? Small things snowballs, right, into a big deal. So what's the difference? The difference is that flexible people don't take things personally. They overcome. Inflexible people, they internalize it and it cripples them. In other words, flexible people deal with events as they come. Bring it on, knowing they are only small hurdles along the way. Whereas inflexible people, that includes traders, they personalize, they internalize the events, which makes them angry, and it makes them weaker and ultimately less equipped to overcome obstacles the next time they come around. So here's an example. Someone without flexibility thinks they're a genius when things go well. But when it goes bad, they take it personally. They lose confidence. They can't imagine how this could have happened. Life can't get any worse, and they struggle with finding a solution. They never recover from that small little hiccup along the way. Now, On the opposite side, flexible people, right? People who have flexibility in their psychology. They know that struggle is part of the game. It only makes them stronger. Struggle only makes them more equipped to tackle the next challenge that is guaranteed to happen sooner or later. Usually people have flexibility because they have a larger goal in mind and they know that they will get there eventually. They just need to work through this specific obstacle, right, to get there. I had some of those obstacles this afternoon. I was trying to record this video. Now, most importantly, psychological flexibility. I know it's kind of a mouthful. Psychological flexibility must be developed like a muscle. And like any other muscle, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it, right? That's the way muscles work. As a trader, you can build this flexibility by taking small risks to your account on high probability patterns, right? The opposite would be, right, incorrect, right? Don't take big risks on low probability patterns because that results in big losses, and those big losses, they scar our psychology, right? They're a debit on our account, which makes it more difficult to make money, right, in the future. I also want to address too a term we talked before called familiarity, right? Being familiar with something. That develops this flexibility that I'm talking about, right? If we've seen things a million times before, then we know that we can recover from the negative events that occur today. I did a lesson a few months ago on the topic of building self-confidence. I'll put the link in this in the text below the video on my blog here at Sideways Markets. That video is a great resource for people who want some other ways to develop this type of flexibility in their trading. The most effective way to develop flexibility is to familiarize yourself with small losses on highly probable trade setups so you can build those muscles. Every time you take a small loss on a high probability pattern, you can rebound by following your rules, right? Getting back into that winning mindset and finding that next winning trade. Every time you take a loss, make it back, take a loss, make it back, you're building those flexibility muscles, right, which are going to allow you to overcome even bigger challenges as your account grows. Now, eventually, you'll add more trades, you'll take a little bit more risks, right, and your flexibility will improve as you're improving as well, right? Now you're going to have a little bit more margin in your account to play with to start adding new patterns. So what I want to do is I want to put together a strategy for you to show you how this flexibility works. Now, for example, start with your favorite trade setup and risk 3% of your account to earn 6% to your account. Now, you'll notice I said start with your favorite trade setup. So I'm assuming that you have a battle-tested trading strategy and you have a handful of patterns in there that you are familiar with and that you know you can trust. If you don't have those patterns, well, then I would recommend shoot me an email. My email address is jj@schooloftrade.com, or join my free trial on the homepage of the website, and let's get you a plan to follow. Okay. So let's start. We got that familiar battle-tested pattern. We're going to risk 3% to earn 6%. Okay, so you notice I'm saying percentages here. So kind of follow along with me on this. So let's say, for example, that a 3% risk to your account is actually a $100 risk, right? So that'd be what, a $3,000 account? And a 6% reward would be a $200 reward. Okay, so let's look again, 3% risk is $100. You can write it down if you want to, right? And a 6% reward is $200, right? It's just a percentage. That's part of the plan here. Okay, roll with me on this. Now, as your account grows, if you keep risking 3% to earn 6%, you're not risking $100 to make $200. As your account grows in value, that 3% risk, you could easily now be risking $500 to make $1,000 in reward. You see what's happening here? You'll still be trading the same familiar patterns. Nothing's changed there. You're still risking the same percentage to your account, but now your income is rising. That's one of the beautiful parts about day trading. I can do the same thing the same way, and if I choose the right patterns with the right strategy in the right markets, right, liquid markets, remember, very important there, I can do the same thing and make more money every day, right? Show me a job where you can do the same work every day and make more money. That doesn't happen very often, right? That's why trading is very unique. Here's the important part. Now you can start researching another pattern, starting with a small $100 risk, which now is not going to be 3%, right? Now maybe it's 2%, maybe it's 1% risk to your account. Do you see where I'm going with this? You started small and now you've grown your account up. Once your account's grown, now add another pattern down here, right? And risk a small amount and build it up. Okay, so now you're able to add one more pattern to your strategy. Now you're not risking 3%. Now you're risking 2%, right? Maybe 1% to earn that 1 to 2 risk reward ratio. And as your account grows, your income grows along with it. And the best part is you're focusing on the percentage risks to your account, not the dollar amount of each trade, right? It's foolish to worry about the dollar amount. We've got to separate that, right, from our psychology. It's percentages rather than dollars. That allows you to develop and maintain that flexible psychology when you do take a loss in the future, right, while you begin earning more money on each trade along the way. Continue this process until you have 3 to 5 highly probable, familiar trade setups, right? Now you have a rock solid and highly profitable long-term trading career. It all starts with small percentage risk to your account using highly probable trade setups that you are already familiar with. You've got to have that one pattern you already know like the back of your hand. Familiarity develops flexibility. If we've seen it before, then we know we can recover from any negative events along the way. Familiarize yourself with those small losses early in your career. Focus on those highly probable patterns so you can build those flexibility muscles. You know, building flexibility over time is done by taking small risks, like I said earlier, on your account using high probability patterns. Don't take big risks on low probability patterns because that results in big losses. It scars our psychology and prevents the development of that flexibility in the long run. And remember, the most important step in building flexibility is trading with a risk that you can afford to lose, which removes the stress, the psychological stress in the equation, and allows you to focus on the process of trading rather than the profit or losses that happen along the way. I call this the I don't care amount. In other words, I don't care if I take a loss because the loss is so small in a percentage comparison to the size of my account. Now, whatever that I don't care loss number is, everyone's different, by the way. I've had clients literally with $1 million trade accounts, and their I don't care number is still very, very small. So don't think just because you have a lot of money in your account, your number, right, your I don't care number has to be a lot, right? It doesn't. Everyone's unique. Everyone's different. And sometimes, and I have this conversation, difficult conversation with clients all the time, sometimes it's better to put a little bit more money in your account so you can keep that percentage risk down to make you feel better about that loss inside. You know, losing $100 on a $3,000 account may seem like a lot of money, but psychologically, if you save a little more money, put $10,000 in your account, now a $100 loss isn't that big of a deal, right? When it comes to maintaining, right, your mindset. Okay, so again, everyone's different when it comes to that I don't care number. But once you define your I don't care number, then each time you take a loss, your job is to take a step back, update your journal with ways you can improve on the next trade and get back into the mindset you need to find that next high probability pattern. Remember, flexibility does not mean jumping into another trade as soon as you take that loss, right? That would be stupidity, right? Flexibility is our ability to snap back, right? To be able to kind of bounce back after that loss, not jumping into a trade immediately, but getting that positive mindset back, right? That focused and positive mindset after a negative event, right? Almost like elasticity, right? Would bring it back, right? Bring that flexibility in our psychology, allowing us to get back to that mental process we were in before we took that loss. Lack of flexibility means you look backwards rather than looking forwards, right? You can't get over that loss. The market did it to me. If only my mouse would have worked. My broker's charging me too much. I think my data feed, forget about it, right? Don't look backwards, look forwards. You can't change the past. You've got to focus on the next trade because let's be honest, right? Focusing on the next trade is the most positive way to make more money, right? You're not going to be easier to find the next pattern by thinking about that previous trade. Look forward, stay positive. That will make it easier for you, right, to build those muscles and make it easier for you, right, to make the next trade, right, being a winner. All right, guys. Flexible traders are proactive after a negative event, such as a loss, whereas inflexible traders are reactive. They come back, they chase the market, they try to take revenge, right? Or sometimes they give up on trading altogether. And last but not least, lastly, remember this very important kind of term here, or phrase here. In the business of trading, we are the ones who are responsible for developing our mindset and our skills. Each winning trade we take is an opportunity to develop the ability to fight greed. And each loss we take is an opportunity to build a better strategy and develop psychological flexibility to overcome adversity. That's guaranteed to happen at some point in a long-term trading career. Boy, we've covered a lot in this psychology lesson. Bunch of big words, right? Psychological flexibility. Let's do a quick recap, shall we? Just in case you guys came in late to the video here today. Today we discussed a term that I call psychological flexibility, which is our ability to return, right, to snap back to our positive and focused mindset after a negative event, such as like taking a loss, right? Traders who have this flexibility can easily overcome small losses because they have a bigger goal in mind. They're also highly familiar with their pattern and their trading strategy. They're risking a very small percentage, not a dollar amount of their trade account, and they understand that the most productive use of their energy after a loss is getting back into that positive mindset because that'll make it easier for them to find the next winning trade. A trader without flexibility takes every loss personally. They often aren't familiar with their trading strategy. They often take big risks on low probability patterns. And when they take losses, inevitable losses, they blame someone else, right? They allow anger to take control of them. They internalize it. They look backwards instead of looking forwards. And it usually results in losing more money before they finally quit the business of trading forever. We also said that this type of flexibility is like a muscle. It needs to be developed. And like every other muscle, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And the most effective way to develop these types of muscles is to take small percentage risks using only the highest probability trades. Even more importantly, I gave you a strategy to grow your account so you can make more money on each trade while systematically adding new setups into your trading strategy while building these psychological muscles along the way. We talked about risking 3% of your account to earn 6% reward. And as your account grows, that same 3% risk becomes greater. Now that we've got some wiggle room in the margin, now we can start adding more setups, now risking less than 3%, like 1% ideal, right? And while we become familiar with those patterns, we've got our go-to patterns and our new patterns, and we're slowly building those new patterns up, right? So we can risk the full tolerance that we do with our best patterns that we started the whole process with. It's a mouthful, but boy, oh boy, follow this strategy. You'll build those psychological psychological muscles. You'll grow your account. And like I said earlier, it's a beautiful thing we have here as traders because we can make more money every day by doing the exact same thing if we just focus on a percentage risk to our account. Remember, you've got to start small. Small, I don't care number at first, highly probable patterns, right? And again, growing, inserting those new patterns and continuing to grow right along with it. I got to wrap things up. We are running late on time here. I hope you found a ton of value in today's psychology lesson. Do me a favor, will you? Drop me a comment below the video tonight with any topics you'd like to see me cover in my next psychology video. If you liked the video today, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you're not done so already. And don't forget, you can find me every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, rolling up my sleeves when I have them on, right, and working hard in my trade room with all of our members here at schooloftrade.com. I get a great free trial on the homepage of our website. Check that out. I publish my nightly newsletter every evening on the blog around 8 o'clock Eastern time, and I'm excited to see you again on my next psychology lesson. My name is Joseph. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will you? Keep building those muscles, and I'll see you next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.